Lakeland Public Television's Common Ground is brought to you by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
My name is Tom Halverson, and I'm what I call a fantasy portrait artist. Normally, I just start with her chin when I draw someone's face, and it's sort of like a structure. You're going to start with a foundation and build my way up. And I usually spend most time on the eyes because that's where we recognize a person, is through their eyes. As I go along and transfer from the graphite pencil to the color pencils, I'll perfect the likeness. And then when I shade it in with some color, powdered chalk, I'll get it even a little closer that way. So then I'm going to switch over to my pose and look at the pose and actually draw her a body. And then I give them some wings. I've got several different wing designs I've developed over the years, but the butterfly for a fairy is usually the basic concept I aim at for most of the sketches I do of fairies. Now I'm ready to actually start coloring this picture in. So I've got all these different colors I'm going to work with, and some of them, they get dull pretty fast, so I've got a lot of pencils pre-sharpened, ready to use, and I'll switch out for some sharp ones between each sketch. In a sketch, I spend most of the time on the face, capturing the likeness. Drawing the body and the wings and all that is like really fast compared. The hardest part of doing a portrait is making it actually look like their face. I want these sketches to be really colorful, so when they hang it in their bedroom, it's going to cheer them up just to look at it, you know. I think these sketches, you know, when a child gets wings or something like that in a fantasy sketch, it boosts their self-esteem. Even though it's a fantasy, you know, their subconscious mind, they say, does not know the difference between fantasy and reality, so I think it does them a little bit of good. Now I'm going to try to get the outline of her face. It's just this dark around the edges of her face. There I've got the shape, and I'll bring some of her hair down. I'm going to use some dark in her hair. And so now I've pretty well got her all outlined. So what I want to do at this point is study her backwards in the mirror. And I'll just take it and turn around and study her face in the mirror here. When I use the mirror, it actually eliminates all the imaginary things I thought I had drawn. And I see the sketch as if from new eyes, you know, because everything in the mirror is backwards. And I'm going to use another kind of a rag. It's kind of a stretchy one. And I'm going to use this to dip my finger in the chalk. I've picked a spot where the color has been used, that same color. And here's just a regular film canister and pastel chalk that I've crushed into a fine powder. But I like the stretchy rag because it allows me to feel the paper really well, so I know where my finger's drawing. And the nice thing about the finger is it's being round. You can change the size of the line you're creating just by the pressure you're putting on the paper. So then I can get in, like with the flowers, get in little tight petals and stuff just by backing off with my finger a little bit. And then I'll pick some skin tone. I'll actually use several different colors in the skin. Mostly this color, which is kind of a peach or a tan. And I'm going to leave a little highlighter on the edges to give shape to her arms and shoulders. So I'm going to put some of that black in here now. Black is a real potent color. I'm going to use up the most potent part of it on my finger in the dark shadows here. Now I'll do her pink dress. Well, I got pink here, but I'm going to use a little darker pink. This is my little electric eraser. I'm just going to get some little highlights. It makes it stand out. And I want to make some of the sparkles with some little shine to them. So I'm just making my eraser like a wedge shape. So now, there you have it. That's a little fairy princess. And I guess there's always one last thing to do, and that's to sign it. So yeah, there we go. What I like about what I do probably most of all is just the joy it gives to the kids. I mean, they really enjoy it. They light up when they see the portrait at the end, you know, and because I actually draw it while they shop around. They come and I take a photo of them, then they go and come back and see the finished results. I hold up the sketch and they just, you know, light comes on and they recognize themselves. But then it's not just them, but they've got fairy wings or dragon wings or a mermaid tail. And so all of a sudden they are like what they saw on TV, that they favorite movies they're watching all the time. It's just fun actually giving joy to other people all the time. You know? My favorite piece of art that I've made is probably an oil painting that I did. It's about 3 feet by 4 feet of a little girl I met in the Duluth Mall several years ago, and I was actually doing her sketch, and I was captivated by her eyes. And when I was drawing them, and I asked her mother if I could, or it might have been her grandmother, if I could actually paint her. So I took pictures of her right there in the mall, and I painted her with this little deer. I found a deer in a magazine, and she had a little tear coming down her face, and the deer was there like comforting her. You know. And I still have this painting. You know, it's we don't have room in our little mobile home here, but it's rolled up and tucked in the rafters there somewhere. And but it was just one of those that had a lot of empathy to it, a pathos, I call it.
If you enjoyed this segment of Lakeland Public Television's Common Ground, consider making a contribution at lptv.org. If you have segment ideas pertaining to North Central Minnesota, contact us at legacy@lptv.org. Common Ground is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund by the vote of the people on November 4th, 2008.